Welcome. This is the Scarlet and Rage podcast. I am Michael, the voice of reason. This is my co-host, Jay, the voice of rage. And we're coming to you tonight with a big season preview, a season preview of 1 versus 2, Texas versus Ohio State, obviously. So we're going to go over that tonight. Jay has done a lot of scholarly research on the two rosters. And of course, I have my thoughts as well. As we near the end of the show, we want those of you in the chat to drop your score predictions as Jay and I prepare to drop ours. And if you would like and subscribe, if you would hit that like and subscribe button, that would be helpful. We appreciate that. Those of you that are watching and haven't subscribed, which is a big chunk of you, hit that subscribe button now. All right. Jay, the message board is really taking off, from what I've seen on there. And I have been so busy as of late, I haven't gotten to spend as much time as I would like, but I have gotten on there and posted quite a few times. And we're starting to develop, some pretty steady traffic. So I'm happy with that.
No, I am. I've been recruiting the heck out of that thing. We have a nice little niche board there, but Michael, I guess go ahead and pull up our link to the message board and post it on here, because it's possible Texas fans and fans from all over are going to listen to this show. So let's get that posted up there. But before we get into the show outside of that, Michael, man, how was the week? How was week 0, sir? Did you watch any of the week 0 games? College football is officially back. Any high school games you watched, college football, what stood out to you? Anything? Michael, can you hear me?
Sorry, Jay. I am back. Had a slight technical malfunction there with my audio, but got it squared around. Last I heard, you said, did I watch any of the week 0?
Yeah, week 0, man. What are your thoughts on week 0, high school, college?
Well, I'll just go with college. Yeah, I watched the Kansas State Iowa State game, and another weird game out in Ireland. It's like that Irish grass is just really tough to play on. I think there's might have been some moisture that day. It rains a lot.
I think it's the Irish weather.
Yeah, it could be the Irish weather. But both games over there have been difficult to get their footing, a little bit sloppy. And, it has probably definitely played some impact in the game. Of course, last year, Florida State going out there, losing a game that everyone thought they would win against Georgia Tech, and then going 2-10 on the season. So it'll be interesting to see how those two teams come out, and if that game and that massive time zone difference and traveling back and trying to get back on track, see if that has any kind of impact on either of those two teams going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. You mentioned that game, and I did place a bet on that game. I finally got my MGM Sports account registered after a year and a half. It was like an effing process, let me tell you, but finally got it registered. So now when I cross over the state lines into North Carolina, because South Carolina, you can't bet on sports, I can place bets, sir. And I did decide to bet the money line in favor of Iowa State, and Iowa State came through for me. So my first actual official sports bet placed in the state of North Carolina, I won. My former coach, John Haycock, won it for me, man.
Awesome. Very nice.
Well, yeah, I didn't win a lot of money, but, it's something. And I can use that to place future bets or cash out.
Exactly. I'm not a gambler, Jay. I gamble very little, but I did gamble some last year, and I was about $100 to the good, and I bet on Michigan State. I bet on the Michigan-Ohio State game. I took Michigan. I did, I was not predicting Michigan to win the game, but I was predicting Michigan to cover the spread, whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. I thought it was a kind of a gimme. I think it was like 10 points.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, it was a gimme.
And so I put $100 on that, won $100. And so I've got, a few $100 in my account to start this year. Put $50 on Iowa State. I just had a feeling about them. Of course, I got a 50-50 shot too. And they won. So I won, $46 there. And then after the first quarter, I put $10 on Iowa State winning by 6 points or less, and that paid out $59. So that was a fun little week one. For
Not a gambler, but you're like gambling on all these intricacies I would never think of.
I thought that I very rarely do those low odds things. I just thought that was a great 10 to pay out 59, because I was like, if they win the game, they're going to win it probably by 6 points or less. So rarely do I take those, but I just thought that one was a decent shot, and it worked out for me.
Well, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. I am glad to hear that. And then one other thing, as I want to tell this story because I don't know when I'll be able to tell it again, but as we all know, I was in Vegas, right? I was in Vegas, Michael, and I think I kind of already told you this already. But I finally experienced something, not directly, but indirectly. I finally experienced something in Vegas that I have never really claimed to have witnessed before, Michael. And I'm sure you know what that is, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I saw a high-end prostitute work her game.
Yeah.
I never saw that before.
Well, before you went out there, I told you that I, encountered it out there on a work trip a couple of years ago. And sure enough, you run into one, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was sitting at like the Vdara. I was staying at the Aria, but the Vdara was actually a little bit more low key and stuff. But regardless, I was sitting there with a couple like colleagues, and we were having a couple drinks. And the guy to my left, he was plastered. But from what I understand, this attractive black woman comes over with some guy. She sits down, but then the guy like disappears, and I'm not really watching her all that close because I'm kind of mostly speaking to the guy to my right. And then like she's there with this dude, and I'm looking over, to try and still engage with him. And she's kind of looking at me like she's not feeling this dude. And I'm like, oh man, well, I don't think she's feeling you, buddy. But lo and behold, man, whatever time later that passed by, I wasn't watching them close. They get up and he's going back to his room with this girl. And I'm like, what the F is going on here? This is odd.
He wasn't responding well to the price. And I guess he changed his mind, huh?
I don't know. I wish I could have heard it. If I would have like really known, I would have said F the guy to my right, because I was talking to him. I would have tried to listen in on her game because I wanted to hear that. I really, really wanted to hear that. They get up and leave. The guy to my right's like, oh yeah, he's about to blow a couple thousand. I'm like, what? That was a prostitute? He's like, yeah. I was like, dang, man.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about their game either, because I gave her very little, because at the time I was married. She came up and was kind of asking some questions, and I basically was giving her one-word answers and looking the other way. And it wasn't really till a work associate came up who's not, he's kind of a colorful guy. He's not afraid to do some questionable things. And he didn't do anything, but it's not beyond him. And so he started talking to her, and then that's how it unfolded on my end.
Yeah, man. I mean, like obviously, like the right thing to say is to always like tell him to F off. I'm married and this. But I don't think that's going to stop him. I don't think the wedding ring.
I didn't do that. I mean, I was pleasant, but I was given nothing, and and she immediately went to the more receptive person as he came down. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. So that was my experience there. It was something I'll never forget because it was like my first time. I lost my, Vegas prostitute virginity indirectly.
You feel like a man of the world now, or what?
I feel like something, man. So I feel like something after that. That's for sure.
All right,
let's
get into this Texas game.
All right, yes, baby. First game of the season. So many storylines to address behind the scenes before even doing a game breakdown here. Michael, familiar foes meet again. Ohio State faced Texas, their second to last game, and Texas's last game was Ohio State. I don't care what anyone says, but that Cotton Bowl, it was a Texas home game, Michael. I said in the Ohio State preview show that we did a few weeks ago, having those 8 extra practices at the end of last season gives Ohio State a little bit of an edge on preparation for younger players. Another thing, College Game Day, big noon kickoff, will both be there. You know, ho-hum on another game at Ohio Stadium for Ohio State to be hosting both national shows. And I believe I was at the last one. I believe it was Indiana, where both national shows were there. I believe Big Noon and College Game Day were at the Indiana game. But, you know, speaking of game day, Michael, something that needs to be addressed. It is Lee Corso's last game. It is Lee Corso's last game. Did you happen to see the tribute that was done on ESPN for him, the hour-long one?
I did not see it.
You know, I thought it was well done, but being the historian I am, I already knew most of that. What was, you know, and what was in there. I feel like I know enough about Lee Corso, where he came from, maybe not in his early history, but where he coached and what he did do at the college level, which really wasn't that much. I think he had more success than Dick Vitale, though, his, you know, basketball counterpart. But, you know, it was a little sad at the end. And it was the actual time that it was okay for Kirk Herbstreit to cry, unlike Black Lives Matter, which made 0 sense. But yeah, I actually felt for, you know, Kirk there. That was a cool tribute to Lee. And it's really cool that his last game is in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, that is really cool. You know, Jay, what I don't love about it is I feel like Lee's been diminished a little bit with all of the politics and things that swirled around the ESPN Disney companies there for a few years, and the COVID, and just the way that it went out, how ESPN became very polarizing. And I remember a day when you know, none of that existed and nobody cared what ESPN's politics was, and ESPN didn't care what anybody else's politics was. And everybody just loved to watch Game Day because it was the best thing going in college football on Saturday morning. And Lee Corso was a big part of that. So, you know, I got to give him credit. In another time, in a little simpler time, you know, that was the premier show, and he was one of the big figures on it. Of course, that's where Kurt built, you know, his name and platform as well. But you know, Lee had his place, and so it is sad to see him go. But you know, I think it's probably definitely time. I mean, I think he's doing the right thing. But everybody's day comes and goes, huh?
Yeah, it's been time for Lee Corso. And, you know, I really, really like Lee Corso. College Game Day was a much better show when it was an hour and a half. Now there's too much fluff in there. I thought it was really at its best, like prior to, I don't know, 2009, maybe 2008, when it was like an hour and a half. And then it got moved to 2 hours, which was, you know, tolerable, but 3 hours is just too much. It's, you know, too much fluff. They can only go over so much stuff. Again, you have to understand, I feel like College Game Day has to appease a wide audience. They're not talking to people like me and you, whose attention span is just not going to be for like those side stories and stuff. They have to break things down on a little more elementary level to reach a wider audience. And for me and you, that's just not, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was about to transition into the game. Or
all right. Well, no final thoughts on Game Day. Just thought that needed to be mentioned. You know, back to this game, man. It is the 5th time these teams have played since 2005. That's quite a bit. And of course, this game essentially marks the 20th anniversary of the 2000.
And Jay, the 5th time total. So they've all been from then until now.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Marks the 20th anniversary of the 2005 game, where it was one of the most sad moments of my life to watch Vince Young go into Ohio Stadium and win. Michael, do you happen to remember that game at all? 20 years ago, Vince Young, that was back during Tressel Ball.
I remember that game very well. I was sitting.
It was like I cried.
I was sitting in a townhouse that I lost to my ex-wife in a divorce. And you
had to go there.
That one still stings. Like, I wanted that townhouse, but anyhow, I was sitting there in that, and I was watching it on my TV. I think I just gotten like a new TV. And yeah, it was a rough game. I mean, that Buckeye team was good. They were really good. They were right there with the national champion and should have beat the national champion. Obviously, we know the issue going on with Troy Smith not starting the game and coming in later in the game and all of that. But yeah, it was a rough one.
Well, I know that you say keep Troy Smith in the game and this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, how much has history changed if Ryan Hamby catches that pass over the middle from Justin Zwick?
Well,
that would have won the game.
Well, that's true as well. Yeah.
Like he just dropped it. He just he bobbled it, juggled it, and then like Cedric Griffin came out of nowhere, number 8, and just whacked Ryan Hamby. And I remember the call on the play. That's like he bobbled it, he like re-caught it up here, and then like Cedric Griffin just tattooed him up in the chest and separated the football. And that touchdown would have won the game. Justin Zwick remains a starter after that game if that pass is complete, by the way.
Boy, big games can define your legacy at Ohio State, can't they? I mean, think about that. He is defined by that moment. When his name is mentioned, if a Buckeye fans know who he is, that's what they think of. And it's unfortunate when something like that happens to a kid, because I'm sure
he had such great hands too. That's the crazy thing is Ryan Hamby had like the best hands. I remember everyone said Ryan Hamby has like the best hands on the team. He catches everything. He didn't wear gloves, from what I understand. He was like one of those guys who never wore gloves, but it wasn't the best pass. I think he was like had it like on his hip. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember.
Did Hamby go on and play in the NFL?
I don't remember. I just know that game really did ruin his life. But, every game with Texas, outside of really 2006, where we kind of pulled away at the end, has been a nail biter, man. Like, 2006, we went into their place. It was a good game for a while. We put them away late, but it was a competitive game.
Yep.
The 2009 Fiesta Bowl, where like Quan Cosby, I believe he was a Cincinnati Bengal afterwards. Quan Cosby, that name, absolutely lit us up. We couldn't cover him. Ohio State had a great defensive game plan that day. My old coach's brother was Ohio State's defensive coordinator at the time. Called a great game plan the entire game, but Anderson Russell missed that tackle in the open field on Quan Cosby, and the rest is history. I know a lot of people get on Daniel Boom Herron. He probably should have taken a knee at the 1. Ohio State run out the clock and kick a field goal, but I think that's overthinking it. Ohio State had a chance, and they came this close to winning the game on a tip pass, almost interception, and Texas had a 4th and 2 on a quick out route, or was it a 4th and 3, 4th and 4? I don't remember what it was. I thought Ohio State could have / should have won that game. And then obviously the Cotton Bowl last year, Scoop and Sawyer, amazing play. I feel like that kind of offset that Fiesta Bowl win. Other than that,
I'll trade him. I'll trade him the semifinal win for that Fiesta Bowl win.
That Fiesta Bowl back then, those games meant more.
They did. They
meant a lot more.
They were huge wins. They were considered very substantial wins, but they were not, a semifinal game to be able to play for national championship because that just didn't exist back then. You were just the Fiesta Bowl champ, which was great, but you were not going to get to play for anything else. So.
Yeah, I think the AP poll was still up. Like that was back when teams could win, split national titles. Like teams could win like the outright BCS championship, and then if you were in contention, like Texas was or something like that. Like we know 2003-04 season, USC and Auburn split the national championship.
Oklahoma.
What is it now?
Was it USC and Auburn?
It was USC and LSU. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking in 2004, Auburn went undefeated, and they were thinking that they should have won the title, but USC was just so dominant in 2004. Again, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent here. USC would have beat Auburn in 2004 pretty convincingly. I think USC on a neutral field would have beat LSU in 2003 too. And we covered that a couple months ago, the years that we needed a playoff, man.
Yeah. Well, I know USC went to Auburn right back around that time and beat them 20-0 on their home field in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Yes, the previous year they did. Yeah. That is exactly right. And that's where I'm like, no, Auburn had the same exact team in 2004. USC would have won by a similar margin. And they beat them in 2003 by that score. They would have won it by a similar margin in 2004. Michael, I want you to listen to something real quick. Can you hear this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
That's me knocking on wood. And the reason why I'm knocking on wood is because what the weather right now for this game looks absolutely beautiful. Clear skies in the 70s. Everyone was thinking it would be 90 degrees, but I am so happy it's not. And I'm sure everyone else is as well. Me, myself, I'll be up in C deck, hopefully not getting too burnt, but I'm not going to be sweating like profusely during this game. It's going to be a nice, comfortable game inside Ohio Stadium. The weather just looks great, man. You couldn't ask for better weather. Again, I'm looking at the weather report today on Monday. Things could drastically change, but I don't think they're going to be too drastic of a change unless it just somehow rain accumulates somehow.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's been cooler here in Ohio. It's been actually getting a little cool at night. And so I think it looks like that trend is continuing on until Saturday. And I think that's advantage. It's not advantage anybody, but I think if it was going to be 93, 95, I actually think that would be advantage Texas. Not a huge advantage, but they're much more used to constant heat living in Austin, Texas, and your body adapts to that more than you are in Columbus, Ohio. At least many of them. I mean, maybe some of the Florida kids, but it's a very minor difference. But I think that would have been advantage Texas, just like I think the cold, against UT was a slight, very mild advantage Ohio State. And so, yeah, I'm glad that we're not having to play in that smoke and heat. It looks like it's going to be a comfortable temperature, and so going to be basically like playing in a dome.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, and I hope so for somebody who's going to be there. And I'll be traveling up on Thursday morning, so I'll be there in 2.5 days. Man, it's going by quick.
Nice.
So the
I'll be heading out Friday morning, so we'll cross paths.
Michael, you have some explaining to do, my friend. I completely forgot about that. Why don't you tell the audience what you're going to be doing now?
All right. Well, I'll be at the Syracuse UT game. University of Tennessee game.
Why?
Well, I agreed to go before I knew Ohio State played, and after I'd already agreed to go, and the tickets were bought and everything. Like I just wasn't gonna pull out of it at that point, and so I'm just gonna have to watch the game on my phone. A friend of mine is a coach for Syracuse. That's why we're going. Otherwise, I would not be going to the Syracuse UT game. So I'll be going rooting for Syracuse. But yeah, I'll just have to follow it on the phone. And, I'll keep updated on it. I'll keep my eyes on it. I'm going to know what's going on. And then it'll be waiting for me on YouTube TV when I want to rewatch it.
Yeah, that's fine, man. I guess I understand meeting with your friends and stuff, but the game is going to be happening at the exact same time.
I know.
Coincidentally enough, you are going to be in the stadium where Ohio State closed out their 2024 season.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to be in the stadium while they kick off their national championship run of their 2025 season by beating Texas at home and dethroning them from the #1 spot right off the bat.
Okay, we're not getting into predictions now. Trust me, that will come later. Michael, along those lines, the line, I believe, started with Ohio State favored by 3 or 3.5, and that line is now down to 1.5 points. So Las Vegas, where I just came from, thinks Texas is the better team on a neutral field, considering home field advantage usually amounts to 3 points for the home team.
Before we move on, Jay, Caroline says she'll be there too. Yes, she will. That's my girlfriend, Caroline. And so she is going down to the game as well. So just want to give her a little shout out.
Don't get into too much trouble, Caroline, Michael. Be careful there.
Oh, yeah. No, we'll be very careful.
So, yeah, man, the line, Las Vegas thinks Texas is a better team on a neutral field. I guess we'll give our thoughts on that later on. But, yeah, man, just, that's something to pay attention to. And I always like to look at the lines the closer they get to the game. If they start moving a certain way, it means that Vegas knows something, right? They know something.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, yeah. So
I'm not jealous, Caroline. I have nothing to be jealous of. I'm going to be at the Ohio State game. You're going to Syracuse and Tennessee. There's no. It's like, what are we talking about here? Okay, Michael. Moving on. Texas hasn't lost a true road game, by the way, since the 2022 season. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I didn't know that either, man. That is astonishing. And in that run, they've won some big time road games. One of them being against Alabama, and I believe it was 2023. They went on the road and beat Alabama by 10 points. Just a great display of offensive football by Texas in that game. It was a high scoring game. I believe it was like 42-32 or something like that. Quinn Ewers had a good game, not a great game, but so I guess let's just move into should we move into just Texas, right? Move into Texas now?
Yeah, let's do it.
So some background on Texas, everyone. Obviously, we know the series is tied 2-2. We return to Austin in 2026. That's going to be a night game. Just spoiler alert. It's going to be a night game. They are a program, Michael, that has been truly rebuilt under Steve Sarkisian. This isn't Ryan Day coming in, taking over in 2019 when the program is operating at a high level. Steve Sarkisian has rebuilt this program. Selfishly, Michael, I haven't wanted Texas to get the right coach in place because, in my opinion, they're one of two teams in the country, two programs in the country with a higher ceiling than Ohio State. The other, in my opinion, the University of Southern California Trojans. Yes, I said it. Rewinding back to 2021, Texas finished 5-7 in Sark's first season. Now, the last 2 years, they've been in the college football semifinals back-to-back years. They went from having a below-average pass defense in 2023 to one of the best last season, and now one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country this season. So, Michael, thoughts on Sark and his accomplishments so far at Texas?
Well, I think in a small way, and I give Sark. So Sark has, like you said, he has really helped to rebuild that Texas program. So in that sense, it's not the same. However, in the sense that he has kind of struggled to win the big game, he gets beat by Georgia, in the SEC championship. The year before, loses in the semifinal to Washington. This past year, loses in the semifinal to Ohio State. And so I really think that he's a little bit like this year's Ryan Day, that I do think there's some pressure on him to win some big games. And it starts here. And so, Ryan Day got the big game monkey off his back in the playoff run. Sark is kind of trying to do that. Not maybe to the degree that Day was, but he's this is a big win for him. This is a big game for him. If he goes and loses as the number one team in the country, it's going to be a big blow. Doesn't mean their season's over. They could still win a national championship. But I think there's some pressure on him going into this season, and I think there's a lot of pressure on him going into this game.
Yeah, they've definitely been building, and the way they hit the transfer portal and the way they've been recruiting, it feels like 2025 is really the year that Texas has decided to, really go all in. This 2025 team, Michael, they lost a lot of players from their 2024 team with a program high 12 players drafted in the 2025 NFL draft. Texas is in trouble from that, right? Wrong. Capital letters, wrong. They finished with the number one recruiting class in the 2025 class. And like I said, loaded up in the transfer portal. So, Michael, let's start offensively here. I believe mentioning their offensive coordinator is irrelevant because Steve Sarkisian calls the plays. And he's probably, in my opinion, Michael, I think he's the best play caller in the country offensively. I think he's better than Ryan Day. I think he's better than any other name you throw out there. I thought Ohio State had a significant talent advantage on Texas last season, and yet Sark still found weak spots in Ohio State's defense and really got after Ohio State with their tight ends and swing routes to their backs out of the backfield. Little background here. So Sark runs a pro-style offense at Texas, pro-style concepts with some spread principles, often aligns in 11 personnel, which is one running back, one tight end, 3 wide receivers to space the field. But he also mixes in 12 personnel to power run or create mismatches. They're very balanced. I will say this, Sark wants to run the ball. The biggest thing is they want to establish the run. They're not a pure raid offense. He emphasizes balance. They can beat you running the ball or through the air. And one thing that really kind of makes them unique is you just pre-snap motion, man. They're constantly moving, shifting, stressing defenses, getting you off balance, creating favorable matchups. I mean, they found the fish in Alex Styles last year at linebacker, man. They absolutely obliterated Alex Styles in coverage a few times. And the guy just, he just can't cover in space. I don't know what it is. He just can't do it. And he figures it out. And, they're play action heavy, which is why they usually like to establish a run. He loves marrying his run game with deep play action shots downfield. So with that all being said, do you have anything to add there about the offense, Michael? I believe Sark is just a genius. He is an absolute genius at offensive football.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a good play caller. I've seen him call brilliant games. I've seen him outcall himself a little bit, like against Georgia in the SEC championship game last year. So like anybody, he's fallible. He can make mistakes. Obviously, I hope that between the pressure, the home crowd, and the talent of Ohio State, I hope he can make some more mistakes this week. But I mean, no doubt he's a formidable game planner and play caller.
Absolutely. And with the Texas, and not with the Texas, with the talent Texas possesses, it's just so hard to deal with. And, Slippin' Skippy makes a good point in the chat. Apparently Dave Portnoy has joined Fox's Big Noon Kickoff, and he is actually banned from Ohio Stadium. I don't know why that is.
I mean, he's like belligerent against Ohio State on Twitter. I mean, he's just a like outright belligerent Ohio State hater. So I don't know. I didn't know that could necessarily get you banned from the stadium. But
what does it mean by ban? Like what? I mean, like is Ohio State actually like filed something with like law enforcement? Because that's something you have to do through like the sheriff's office or law enforcement to actually formally ban somebody.
Well, I don't know, but I would assume that they probably have.
That's crazy. That is some soft, weak ass shit by Ohio State. Honestly, I invite him in and let the crowd boo him. Like fuck it, like he's right there for it. That is some weak sauce by Ohio State, honestly. Like, fuck that. Like, fuck that. Come on, Ohio State. Don't be a fucking bitch like this. It's like, I don't know. I feel like our president, man, is not as good as we once thought. And neither is our athletic director, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Is you could invite the idiot into the stadium and let him get booed like crazy. I mean, maybe he would enjoy that, but who cares? I don't know. I mean, interesting. I've never heard of somebody being banned from a stadium. Like just
I've never heard of that before.
A public figure that's not like a menace to society or anything.
Yeah, for sure. Very, very odd. Very, very weird. Not much else to say there. I don't really have a problem with Portnoy. I mean, his political. I think he's fiscally conservative, but he's socially liberal. So I can work with those people. That's fine. They're just. I don't know. I guess he likes to smoke a lot of weed, so take that. Oh, have you seen his One Bite Pizza reviews?
Yeah, a little bit.
Dude, I love those videos.
Yeah.
I really do. I was like, man, oh man, I wish I could. I mean, that's kind of a hobby of mine. I always try and find either the best steak, maybe not the best wings, but either the best steak or the best pizza. That's what I'm always in search for.
Yeah, that's cool.
Those two foods right there. I'm always on the lookout for. If someone says it's the best steak, I got to try it. And I just came from Vegas and I had that Prime Steakhouse my first trip to Vegas, and it wasn't the best steak. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
Moving on to defense, Michael. So,
I'm going to a similar place in Atlanta Friday, so I'll report back.
What is it?
Let me see. What is it called?
You obviously have reservations, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It is called Little Alley Steak. Yeah, it looks like it's the Little Alley Steakhouse in Buckhead, Georgia.
Never fucking heard of it. Little Alley Steakhouse in Buckhead. Okay.
Yeah. Supposed to be top stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious about your report. Defensively, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
This is Pete Kwiatkowski's show. Mm-hmm. So, as we all know, badass Polish guy. He obviously has a badass Polish name, like I do. Honestly, just looks perpetually pissed off when you look at him on the sidelines. He very much limited Ohio State's offense in the Cotton Bowl last year, Michael, by playing shell coverage on Jeremiah Smith and letting his defensive line control the game. So little breakdown here of what he likes to do and what I've studied on film. So, they run multiple fronts, but they're mostly a 2-high safety defense that mixes elements of 4-2-5 and 3-4. I would say their base is 4-2-5. Heavy use of quarters and other 2-high shells. The safeties are their keys. They are very good at disguising pre-snap, rotating post-snap, defending run and pass. Defensive line play, they focus on gap control, keeping linebackers clean rather than blitzing. Strong front, to keep the safeties clean as well. He really doesn't blitz. Like, as we all know, he really didn't blitz Ohio State last year. I know, like, people are trying to say, like, Texas blitzed on that screen to Travion to end the half. They didn't blitz. They did bring a safety late, which was stupid. I don't disagree. I thought that was a stupid call, but they only brought 4. So by the letter of the law, you have to bring more than 4 by the letter of the law for a blitz. Their edge rushers are asked to be versatile. They drop into coverage at times. As we all know, Will Howard got picked off once by their end dropping into coverage. He almost got picked off a time before that. The pass, I believe it was in the first quarter to Carnell Tate. It went right through the Texas defender's hands. He basically acted like he was going to rush, and he dropped real quick and read it. But it went right through his hands. So in short, Kwiatkowski's defense is built around, a zone coverage look. The safeties are going to stay deep. Don't expect a lot of deep throws by Ohio State. Once again, controlled aggression up front and versatility in personnel, similar to what's become common in the NFL, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And he was behind those Boise State teams, those great defenses of Boise State between like 2008 and 2013. Yeah. He was the commander of those teams.
Okay. They definitely have a good defense, and it's going to be a big challenge for Ohio State. We'll get into that when we get to the Ohio State side, but they do have some wrinkles that they didn't have to plan for last year. I mean, that is one thing about this Ohio State offense against this Texas defense, is that they have all the weapons they had last year, minus the backfield. I'm talking about receivers, all the weapons they had last year, plus a new shiny race car at tight end, in Max Clare. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they try and put that much attention onto Jeremiah again. Can they get away with that with now a big threat, from tight end?
Let me just tell the chat real quick. I mean, this is a show. We're doing a breakdown of Texas. We'll get to some of your comments, but for the most part, this is like, we have so much information to go over. So, some comments we'll try and highlight if they really stick out. But for the most part, this is very much a show breaking down Texas. So, Michael, now that we've broken down kind of schematically what they are on offense and defense, how about we go into their personnel?
Okay, go ahead.
So, where do you start? You start at the quarterback position. Arch Manning takes over the show from Quinn Ewers, son of Cooper Manning, if I'm not mistaken. In my opinion, good arm, not a great arm, but he is mobile. He has kind of a funny looking throw motion. It's hard to kind of explain, but I will say this, Michael, I was watching his highlights today. I was trying to watch more of him, and he has like a low throw point. Like he kind of lets it go. Like, I can't really describe it. He's not Tom Brady, the way Tom was just so smooth and kept it high, and passes just didn't get batted down. He can run. He is not a burner, but he has good speed. And the read option game is something that Ohio State will have to honor with his running ability. Michael, thoughts on Arch Manning? He's got a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of pressure. And as was stated, he it's been said leading up to this that, well, both quarterbacks are new, and that's true. Both quarterbacks are very new. But one thing that does separate him is he does have 90 reps passing the football, at the highest level. So he's thrown the ball 90 times. He's thrown it 90 times more than Julian Sayin. It's not like end all be all, like, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable, but that is an advantage, so he does have some time on the field. And as far as him as a player, yeah, I know what you're talking about his throwing motion. It does look a little odd sometimes. I'll say this, he's very mobile, and that's what concerns me about him, in that not even just his running, but in his ability to make a threat with the run, attack the line of scrimmage, and then find the receiver downfield as the defense tries to adjust to come up and defend against, the quarterback scramble. And so I'm a little bit worried about him, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't quite know what to expect because we just haven't seen enough of him, but I am a little bit concerned with what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's concerned. I mean, he's such an enigma, but I will say this, Julian Sayin is more of an enigma than him. Like we have, I mean, we have film on Arch Manning. Texas really has no film on Julian Sayin, which kind of gives Ohio State an edge there. Now, I'm not saying that Julian Sayin's better than Arch, but it's going to be hard for Texas to prepare for Julian. Well, we don't know what is going to happen there. Moving on, running back position, Michael. Jaden Blue, the guy who scored both Texas touchdowns in the Cotton Bowl, is gone, but Contravian Wisner is back. And CJ Baxter, former #1 running back in the country for the 2023 class, is the wild card here. He got some carries in 2023, and he was all set to be their feature back in 2024, but a leg injury ended his season before it even began. With Contravian Wisner, I can't really pinpoint it, Michael, but he's shifty, not a burner, not overly big, but he's hard to take down. And it is so crazy, the good backs that we faced last year, Michael. I feel like in the playoff run, maybe it was Texas's offensive line that was arguably the best offensive line in the country last year. But yeah. I feel like of all backs that we faced, Wisner, he was the hardest one for Ohio State to stop in the playoffs. I can't really he was hard to bring down. He was shifty. He got in the open field. He didn't run for a lot of yards, but he ran for some really tough, clutch runs. So in my opinion, Michael, this is the best set of running backs we will see all season.
Yeah. Definitely tough. There is a rumor out there. It's not really a rumor. Well, I think it is still a rumor at this point, but supposedly the offensive line is having a little bit of trouble in Texas, and that the big left tackle, his name is slipping my mind at the moment, is injured. Not necessarily that he won't play, but he's probably not going to be 100%. So, again, every little advantage you can get, you'll take it against a team of this caliber. And Jay, before we go on with the rest of this preview, since we're not interacting with the chat a lot tonight, I want to say right now in our top three posters or chatters of the evening, Slip and Skippy is in the #1 spot. Then we've got who we got #2? Caroline is #2, and James W is #3. So those are our top 3 commenters in the chat as of right now, Jay.
Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for continuing to support us. Not much else to be said there. If you're not on the message boards, please get on the message boards. Please like our Facebook page. Please get on our X account.
I agree that his legs concern me. So I'm in agreement with you there, Ghost of a Flea. And good thing is we do have speedy linebackers, but hopefully we'll have a good scheme to contain him.
Yeah, Michael, so you mentioned the offensive line. So let's talk about the offensive line a little bit. This, in my opinion, is probably, strangely enough, the weakest. I mean, it was like arguably the strongest part of their team last year. It's gone to the weakest part of their team, which is great, but considering Ohio State's defensive line is the weakest part of their defense. Only one starter returning from that great offensive line. Trevor Goolsby is the guy's name. Their left tackle supposedly has an injury and will be dinged heading into this game. But I expect him to play. I expect Goolsby to play. It's kind of like Cam Williams last year for Texas. I mean, he was hurt too, but in a game of this magnitude, I expect him to play because he can rest against the shitty teams after that Texas is going to play. Bird's eye view, strangely enough, Michael, they aren't all that long. Yeah, they are girthy, but they're not long. They have only one player above 6'5" on their offensive line. That is Goolsby himself, the left tackle. Brandon Baker, their other tackle, former 5-star from the modern day high school, is only 6'4". But at the same time, Donovan Jackson was only 6'4", and he was a first-round pick. Now, Donovan Jackson, went back to guard in the NFL, so Brandon Baker hasn't played any guard. So a 6'4" tackle is, kind of short. He may struggle in pass protection against Kenyatta or Bo Atkinson or Caden Curry. I don't know. But again, something to be on the lookout for, Michael. Yeah, anything else to add about the offensive line?
Nope, Jay. We're ready to move on.
Wide receiver. So,
Jay, let me preface that with Paul Feinbaum, among others, are stating that Texas has a better wide receiving corps than Ohio State.
You're kidding.
No. Paul Feinbaum said that's one of the reasons. This is what a clown Paul Feinbaum is. He's always been a clown. And ESPN just is now paying millions of dollars for his clown show. But Paul Feinbaum said that one of the reasons that Ohio State will get blown out by Texas, not just beat, blown out, is because Texas has a better wide receiving group.
Some SEC X page said the same thing. They said that Texas is so much more talented than us and it's not going to be close. And I'm like, I think these are just trolls. If they're not on trolls, they're on drugs.
Yeah. Well, Paul Feinbaum is
SEC numbers guy. Experts are beginning to worry of a blowout in the Texas-Ohio State game. It is becoming evident that Texas holds the talent edge in virtually every single position group. Many are wondering if this will be the most lopsided top 3 matchup ever.
Wow.
Wow. I don't know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that.
It's becoming evident from what? Where's the evidence of this? Like, besides just total
I hope this
nonsense
is in Ohio State's locker room.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never seen a defending national champion be so disrespected on their, going into their home field,
What if Alabama would have just won the national championship? What would they be saying about Alabama facing off against Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State or Oregon to start their season? They would be saying, this is the defending national champion. They're probably going to win the game on their home field. But no, Ohio State gets no such courtesy out of ESPN over there.
No, they don't. But there is one stat that is something to be on the lookout for. A first-year starting quarterback, starting his first game against the number 1 team in the nation is 0-18 all time.
I was going to mention that stat tonight, Jay, but you mentioned it for me. Yes, that is definitely a hurdle that Julian Sayin will have to get over. Now, interestingly enough, I wonder how many of those times has the opposing quarterback had less than a half of a year of experience. That might be worth looking into. My guess is that many of those times, the majority of those times, probably they were facing the starting quarterback that had a year or more experience under their belt. But I don't know. We'd have to be stat geeks and really dig into it to find that out.
Right. So at the wide receiver position, Michael, a lot of their core from the Cotton Bowl is completely gone, but the name to watch here is Ryan Wingo, former 5-star recruit in the 2024 class from St. Louis, Missouri. I do remember him from the Cotton Bowl. He can make things happen. He almost had a touchdown. Caleb Downs caught him by the shoestrings. He is the guy that Texas will use on end arounds, screens, bubble passes. DeAndre Moore is also back. I looked at the stats. He had 4 catches for 31 yards in the Cotton Bowl. And I believe DeAndre Moore is just the prototypical Sark Texas wide receiver. That's not very big. He's 6 feet tall, but he's very shifty and elusive, and he can get small in small spots and, just get open on just, 3-yard routes and then turn them into 8, 9, 10-yard gains. That seems to be like the type of wide receiver that Sark just loves to have there in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then at tight end, Gunnar Helm is gone, but insert Jack Endries, the transfer from California. And I watch his highlights, Michael, at Cal. He is not Max Clare, but he is not too far away. He absolutely is a true receiving threat at tight end. I don't believe he's as good as Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm was arguably the best tight end in the nation last year. So anything to add there at the tight end position, the wide receiver position, they're both good, but they don't really strike fear into me like that.
No. I think Ohio State has the edge in both of those.
So let's move on to what Texas is really known for this season, and that is their defense, their defensive personnel. Overview of them, Michael, and this is coming. Ironically, Texas is the team I use in the 2026 college football game, and I was telling my family on the phone earlier, I have accumulated a 52-23 record in that game.
Wow.
I am a monster, man. I'm starting to get my powers back. I'm almost in God mode again.
All right. Good.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. I feel like I'm like the perfect person to talk about Texas because I use their roster
You're 52-23, like what? Like against your opponents that you're facing, or what?
Yeah, online.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I don't do anything but online play. I don't play. Okay. I don't play. The season stuff or anything like that, dude. I play one game against the computer, and then it's like, okay, let's play people online, and that's what I love to do.
You would smoke me.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you even played a video game?
Years ago.
I am going to be 65 and still playing video games.
But I say years ago, I mean like 2 years ago.
What game did you play?
Madden.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing Madden there for a little bit, a couple years in a row. I think it was like 2 or 3 years in a row I was playing Madden. 1 year I was using the Cardinals because they had Kyler Murray, and he was just so good at rolling out, and I could just use him so well at like just slicing and dicing teams, and he was such a good scrambler.
I play the career mode where I like create a player and play a long career with them.
Yeah, I don't do that. That's just too boring to me. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do it, man. It's just not me, man. I like to play against people online. I like to hear them talk shit. My last 2 games, man, I have absolutely just fucking stomped them.
Yeah. We got a Longhorn saying that Feinbaum is rage baiting y'all. You're probably right. He's a master.
Now, Feinbaum really doesn't know jack shit about football, by the way.
No, he doesn't care.
Not damn fucking thing.
He's just a smack talker. That's what he does.
But I do respect his show, though. I respect his show. Yeah, he he's got a great thing going for him, man. I mean, he doesn't do any X's and O's, and I don't know that he really brings people on that do. I know he used to have that Paul Feinbaum film room back in the day, and every now and then I like to listen to the 2014 Sugar Bowl when I don't know, some of the fans just called in and went crazy. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Well, I used to listen to Feinbaum, like I said, years ago when he was just out of Birmingham, when I was traveling back and forth in Baton Rouge in Alabama. And so, yeah, I remember hearing the Feinbaum show many years ago before he was a national name. He's very regional back at that point.
So let's move on to the defensive personnel, Michael. So The defensive line, man, this is the biggest defensive line we will see all season, including the playoffs outside of playing Texas again. They have 3 guys over 330 pounds. And I've said this repeatedly, how Ohio State has just not gotten these guys. But Texas has 3 guys over 320 pounds, with 2 of them being over 340. Murad Watson, the star freshman from Syracuse, is the player Ohio State missed out on against Texas in the offseason. Just absolutely massive on the interior. Colin Simmons is the former NCAA freshman defensive player of the year. Pure speed guy off the edge, not overly big, long, but fast and athletic. He didn't do much in the Cotton Bowl, but he did create some pressures and tipped a pass. So, Michael, I know I asked you to talk to your Syracuse friend. Did he have anything to add about Murad Watson?
No, not really. I mean, he just said he's a very he's a very impressive player. So he's got a motor, and a real will and desire. And he basically just gave it, superlatives to him that he has what you're looking for in a guy down in the trenches. Attitude wise, ability wise. He just said he's a tough. He's obviously not familiar with Ohio State's offensive line, But he said as far as he's going to be hard for most offensive lines to handle, especially as he gets a little older and more mature.
And that's hopefully we hope. I mean, our entire interior is back, so we hope that helps us there. Another year of experience. I mean, we saw how great the interior played in the playoffs. Hero Canoe is another transfer. He went to Texas transferring, and he thought he was probably going to be a starter or at least in the 2 deep. And I think he's probably number 3. I mean, Travis Shaw from North Carolina is 340 pounds.
Hold up. Hero Canoe is at Texas?
He is at Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a bad look for Ryan.
Why would you leave Ohio State's defensive line room to go to Texas?
Don't know.
If you're going to leave Ohio State's defensive line room, you don't go to one of the defensive line rooms in the country that's better than Ohio State's. You go to somewhere. Well, I don't know. I don't get that move. I had no idea that Hero Canoe went to Texas.
Yeah.
That slipped through.
No, yeah, it is. It was. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I wish he would have went back to Ohio State. We absolutely could use the depth. I mean, yeah, I don't think he would have started here either. But he probably would have been in our 2 deep instead of like the 3 deep at Texas. So moving on at linebacker, Michael, Anthony Hill Jr. is the name here. Big, long, fast, athletic, leading tackler for Texas in the Cotton Bowl. I don't know if he was the leading tackler on the season. Strangely enough, this is a unit at linebacker at Texas that they're not overly big, nothing compared to Ohio State. The other linebacker that will start is Leona Leafau, 6'1", 218, not very big. He's fast, but he's just not very big. And for as much hype as Anthony Hill has gotten, Michael, for his size and length, he isn't as big or probably as athletic as Ohio State's 2 starting linebackers in Arvell Reese and Alex Stiles. Like, they're both 6'4", 230 pounds. Anthony Hill is 6'3", 220, maybe 225. He's not as big, and I bet you he's not as fast as either one of them either.
Yeah, I can't really comment on that because I don't remember. But it would not surprise me because Ohio State is pretty blessed to have 2 very sizable, very athletic, fast linebackers.
And I stay by that comment. Ohio State has the most athletic linebacker core in the country. I'm not saying that they're the best, but they are the most athletic. Mm-hmm. Secondary, Michael, if there is a weakness with Texas, it is here. I'm not calling the secondary a weakness. I'm just saying if it's more of an unknown, and if there's a place we can get them, it's here. Mm-hmm. Their 2 best defenders from last season, Jahdae Barron and Andrew Makuba, are gone. Mm-hmm. Malik Muhammad is their best returning corner. But, you look at his stats, like he didn't have any interceptions last year, and they probably threw away from Jahdae a lot. So it's not like he put up a lot of stats. I am hearing good things on their safety, Jelani McDonald, who brings size, length, and speed at 6'2". But I will say this, if there is a person you go after in the pass game, if you're able to, is Michael Taff. He is the fish, if you can get him. I mean, I feel like Ohio State, they didn't really get him in the passing game last year, but Quinshon Judkins surely ran him the fuck over on one of those touchdowns, and he just doesn't look like a physically impressive player.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to be really interested to see what Ryan Day and Brian Hartline scheme up to attack this secondary because of the way Texas approached it last year, putting the shell over Jeremiah Smith, not having quite as much punch at running back, but having a more experienced wide receiving core. They're only going to be a little bit better than they were last year, and then you add a great tight end. And it just seems like it's risky business to try and put so much attention on Smith. But on the same token, you can't leave him out one-on-one or you're probably going to give up big plays either way. So, we'll get to Ohio State here in a moment, but they do have quite a bit to attack this Texas secondary with.
Yeah, they do, and I'll get to my explanation to that in a moment. But Michael, in the chat, everyone in the chat, I want some score predictions posted in there. I want some score predictions posted now. Everyone in the chat, get in there, post some score predictions. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I'm just curious on everyone else's thoughts. But Michael, before we get into our predictions, on offense, what does Ohio State need to do to win this game? What sticks out to you? What do they need to do to bring this W home and secure a victory over Texas, which would be just a massive win. What do we need to be able to do at home to beat these guys offensively? Let's start offensively first.
Yeah. I don't know as much what to expect out of the run game. I am optimistic about the offensive line probably being as good as last year's offensive line. Obviously, running back is not going to be quite as good. I'm not exactly sure what to expect at running back after seeing 2 second-round NFL backs last year. I'm not quite sure how that's going to look. But what I do know is they have to exploit their weapons on the perimeter. And use Max Clare in a way to attack the Texas defense, to force them to make some very difficult decisions of give a young quarterback a nice safety valve and a big sure-handed tight end, or let Jeremiah Smith potentially get open on you. And so I think they have to attack multiple directions, knowing that last year Texas Texas essentially took Smith out of it, and so they sacrificed some other things. Tate had a big game. Obviously Tate's still there as well, but you also have Clark, and so I'm optimistic that they can get the ball moving with the weapons that they have. The question mark that is in my mind is, what is this run game going to look like? And that's more a function of I'm just not quite sure what to expect out of the running backs more than it is I'm super concerned about the offensive line.
So, in my opinion, Ohio State has to do 2 things. They've got to be able to do 2 things. First and foremost, the added the tale of all tales is in the game of football is you got to be able to run the ball. Ohio State has got to be able to run the ball. They really didn't run it all that well on Texas last year, Michael. We really didn't. We had some good runs near the goal line, but for the most part, I feel like Texas they were running the ball a little bit better than we were.
Yeah, it was a game of big plays. The Henderson play and the Jack Sawyer play. It was a game of big bursts. There was times we didn't move the ball well at all.
Because Texas is going to have a light box. They're going to do the same thing on defense that they did last year. It's not a secret. They're going to run the same exact game plan because it worked. Why change something that it absolutely worked? They held Ohio State to 21 offensive points. Mm-hmm. One of those being that screenplay to Henderson. So, and then the other thing is they hopefully Ohio State has learned from their mistakes. They have got to find creative ways to get Jeremiah Smith the ball, because you're right. Texas is going to run, they're going to run a soft shell or a cover 2 shell, cover 2 man shell on Jeremiah, whatever it is, but they're always going to have somebody over the top of him. So he's not going to be able to get beat deep. So that means you got to get him involved in the screen game and quick slants and this, that, and the other. You just got to find ways to get him involved, however it may be, but he has just got to be more involved this time. He just can't be a decoy the entire game. So you just have got to find creative ways to get him the ball if you want to win this game. So I guess let's move to the defense, Michael. What does the defense need to do to be able to stop Arch Manning and to hold Texas down and win the game?
Oh, boy. I think the defense, if you want to boil it down to one thing, obviously there's a lot of things schematically Matt Patricia could do, and the guy's very smart, and I hope he has a very good plan. But if you want to boil it down to one thing, is they have to get pressure on this young quarterback. They have to get pressure on him, and then they have to be able to contain him. If they can do those 2 things, I think they win this football game at home. Now, that's 2 big ifs, because this is a defensive line that is to a large degree a question mark. These guys didn't start last year for the most part. Few of them played a decent amount. I don't know what kind of blitzing Patricia would do. I think he'll probably be a little more conservative early on, not wanting to give up big plays with a little bit younger secondary till he gets a feel for how they're playing. But yeah, ultimately you got to I think you got to find a way to get pressure on this quarterback and then contain him. And if you can do those 2 things, I like our chances.
Yeah. In my opinion, I just think you just have to play a lot of man and a lot of blitzing. Yeah, I know that's my thing. But again, it's going to be hard to stop Texas running the ball. I understand their offensive line isn't the biggest, but again, they have the read option with Arch Manning. That's something to pay attention to. Their running backs are the best collection of backs we will see all season. So I believe you got to do a lot of run blitzing. You have got to play a lot of man coverage because the wide receivers at Texas are good, but they don't scare me like that. Their tight end is good, but he doesn't overly scare me. I think with the personnel Ohio State has got on defense, we can play them man up and, a man for a man. I mean, I would run a lot of cover 1, and I'm running some cover 0 too, and saying Texas beat us over the top. And Arch, if you can sit in there and avoid tackles in the backfield and stuff, then so be it. But you just got to get after him. You got to get after him. You got to get him uncomfortable. You have to do anti-Jim Knowles. You can't sit back and let him pick you apart, because I think he will. I think he can. I don't want Ohio State in zone. I don't even know really what Matt Patricia is going to do in this game. He's another enigma. He's been out of coaching for a while. For all we know, he could be fucking Jim Haycock 2.0 and just be 8 yards off of the corners and just shitty fucking defense. But in my opinion, Ohio State's got to play a lot of man. They got to blitz a lot, and not only to be able to stop the run to help the defensive line with how undersized they are, but they got to create negative plays in the backfield on Arch and take away his scrambling. The more you blitz, they always say oh, you don't want to blitz a mobile quarterback. I think you actually do want to blitz a mobile quarterback because it makes them get the ball out of their hands quicker. And, another thing, I think Bo Atkinson needs to start on the other edge opposite of Kenyatta Jackson. I said that on our Ohio State preview show a couple weeks ago. I'm hearing rumors that Caden Curry may start. And if that's so, that is a shame, because Caden Curry just hasn't done anything in his career yet that would tell me he warrants starting at Ohio State. And if Bo Atkinson can't beat him out, that is a red flag. And Caden Curry just doesn't have the physiology. He's 6'3", 260 pounds. Bo Atkinson is 6'6". Like, that length and size is just, it's going to matter against Texas. And you want bigger players. He's a really, really good run defender as a defensive end, similar to Jack Sawyer. And we need as many of those guys as we can playing as many snaps as possible.
Yep. So,
Michael, let's get into our predictions.
Yeah. So
you told me on the phone earlier today that you don't have a good feeling about this game, and you are the voice of reason. I guess my first question is, number one, why do you not have a good feeling about this game?
Well, based on what we know, I think they have the edge. But there's some unknowns, Julian Sayin.
Well, who has the edge? Who has the edge?
I think Texas has the edge based on what we know. We don't know how Ohio State's defensive line is going to hold up. We've got some idea probably how their linebackers are going to do. I think a decent idea how their secondary is going to do. Offensive line, I think, will be fine. Receivers will be good. Don't know about quarterback and running back. So I feel like out of what we know, Texas has the edge. But that's what I meant by that. That's not to say that I don't think we can beat them. I just think it's going to be a really tough, a tough game. And so I've got my score. Do you have yours?
I do have my score.
Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go?
Yeah, you go.
I'm going Buckeyes silencing the haters, ringing the victory bell ahead of time, and then it actually meaning something because they end up winning the game 21-19 in another close, thrilling finish.
I don't think my heart can take that kind of game. I'd probably drop dead in the stadium. You're going to find white male, late 30s, dead inside Ohio Stadium with that. I can't fucking. Michael, I've been pretty resigned to this prediction for a while now, and I know you probably know which way I'm going with this.
Yeah.
There are some things about this game in Ohio, and again, I am so ecstatic about this Ohio State game. I really am. But Arch Manning has some experience. Julian Sayin has none, and I think Julian Sayin has a higher passing ceiling than Arch Manning. But I am going to go. I'm going to go Ohio State 21, Texas 27, and I'm maybe even leaning Texas 30 to 21 or 31 to 21.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And I'll tell you what, the biggest problem that Ohio State's going to run into here is Texas is going to run the same defensive game plan as last year. And yeah, do I believe Julian Sains a better pure passer than Will Howard? Absolutely. I don't know if his arm is much better, but anything under 25 yards is definitely better. But the thing is Texas is going to be able to hold Ohio State's run game in check. I don't know that Ohio State's going to be able to run the ball. I mean, Chip Kelly is gone, and we know what the massive boost he provided to our run game. He's gone, and I don't trust Brian Hartline enough. We know how bad the blocking was when Hartline was the offensive coordinator 2 years ago, and Chip Kelly shored that up. Yep. He is gone. That is just a massive loss, and we didn't replace him with a high-level OC or, offensive line coach for that matter. So the blocking, I don't believe that we're going to be able to block them well enough to run the ball for them to respect our play action. And because of that, they won't have to commit many guys in the passing game or to the line of scrimmage. And I just don't know that Julian Sains is going to be able to fit footballs into small, tight zone windows. Jeremiah Smith is probably going to have a better game than he did in the Cotton Bowl, but not much better because, Texas is going to pay very close attention to him. They have got very good players. And it's a shame. And then, defensively, I think our defense is going to play really well. I do think they're going to bring pressure and stuff, but at the end of the day, I think Texas's read option is going to generate them enough points and sustain drives that Ohio State really doesn't run the read option. Texas has a running threat in Arch. We don't really have that in Julian Sayin. And because of that, I think Texas is going to be able to churn out yards and points. I don't know. I think it's possible Texas gets a couple turnovers and gets really good field position. I don't think Texas is just going to march up and down the field on us all day long, but I could see a Julian Sayin interception 2 or 3 that puts them in really good position.
Well, there you have it, folks. We have a split decision here on the Scarlet and Rage podcast. I'm going with a narrow Buckeye win. Jay's going with a comfortable Texas win.
I don't know that I would call it comfortable. I just, later in the season, if Julian Sayin is more seasoned, I could see Ohio State win. But, I was telling people close to me this. It's like Ohio State is like, I love the talent on our team, but they're the type of team that gives them fits is a team like Texas. And really, Texas is the only team in the country I'd probably pick to beat Ohio State, knowing their personnel, because their line is just so big and they made a major investment. They made a major, major investment getting Cole Brevard from Purdue, a pure nose tackle, and then Travis Shaw from UNC, a pure nose tackle, and then the Syracuse freshman. It's like Ohio State didn't get those guys. They got Bo Atkinson, which is a very nice get. But where are the defensive tackles? Ryan Day even said it himself. They needed somebody. They didn't get him. And now you made your bed, and now it's time to lie in it.
Jay, as we segue out of here, I did some in-depth research into the NIL situation with Ohio State today. So I want to, in a future episode, give at least a 5-10 minute update on that because I have all the ins and outs on it. And Ross Bjork is orchestrating a disaster.
Sounds like that's for another episode.
Absolutely. We'll mention it down the road. We'll keep you updated on it, but just wanted to throw that in there here at the end. But in the meantime, I got the Buckeyes taking this one 21-19. Jay,
I hope so, man, because I'm going to be a really, really sad person inside that stadium.
I'll call you from Atlanta and we'll celebrate the victory, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to be inside that. Say, hey, chat, if you could post, I might do an immediate reaction on my phone after the game. I don't know if people want that after the game. Michael won't be there. I might just do my own immediate reaction for like 10 minutes, talk about the game a little bit. If you want it, comment, either in this live chat or in the comments, like after the video is posted, but let me know. But Michael, I was telling you on the phone earlier, man, considering the season went so long last year, and then we open with a team as like talented as Texas, it just feels like we didn't get to enjoy this title as long as I would have liked.
Yeah, would have been nice to have a couple of gimmies and then play Texas. But hey, we got what we got. Got to go out and see if we can start this run for maybe back-to-back. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. Driving up to Ohio in 2.5 days, though.
All right. Awesome. Well, we're out. See you guys. Thank you. We'll be back next week. Bye.